And waking up this morning to a beautiful sunrise and another first day of school. It's going to be a really hot one this year.
Today, Aurora Public Schools welcomes back grades 1 through 12. Adams 14 and Weld RE4 are also back in class starting today.
Ann Keeley has your first day of school forecast. Here's a hint. It's going to be hot, right?
It's not just going to be hot today. It's going to be hot for the rest of the week. Yes, get ready for a dry, sunny, but very warm week ahead. We're at 66 out at DIA right now. The winds are light out there. And HD Doppler radar, all is calm and quiet out there this morning. The only action we'll really see weather-wise will be some small storms, isolated storms popping up across the southern mountains, San Juans, as well as south of the Palmer Divide. But for us here in the metro area, we are under an air quality health advisory from really Castle Rock along the I-25 corridor north. And this is due to high ozone levels and could be an issue for those sensitive groups. Not a lot of wind clearing that pollution out. Today, mostly sunny. We are going to be dry and above normal for temperatures this time of the year, 93. We're going to warm up quickly, getting up to the mid 80s by lunchtime. Tonight, dropping into the mid 60s. We do have more 80s in our 7-day forecast. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you much. And this morning, Denver and CDOT are evaluating how well our highways and streets handled the storms and the flooding on Sunday. If the Central 70 project is any indication, not very well. While I-70 was flooded through the newer Central 70 corridor, the city says that the new flood design worked a little better in other parts of Denver. 9 News reporter Jordan Chavez is near City Park Golf Course this morning. Jordan, neighbors in that area have had issues with rain and flooding for years.
Yeah, so the city's saying this worked just a little bit better. Of course, Gary, that all depends on who you ask. Like you mentioned, everything you said is exactly why the city of Denver said, you know what, we want to try something a little bit different about 5 years ago. So to fix the flooding problem in this area, engineers redesigned this golf course so that it would flood instead of the surrounding neighborhoods around it. And of course, on Sunday, their work was really put to the test. So the course's reconstruction included deepening a retention pond between the 11th and 13th holes. Denver's engineering manager says the new design worked as indicated by this video about half an hour after that rain stopped. But that doesn't mean it kept all the flooding off the roads, of course. This video was taken near 23rd in Colorado. We also saw flooding in the Central 70 corridor. The project's contractor, Kiewit, says that's because drainage pumps didn't automatically turn on. They actually had to manually do that themselves to clear all of that water out. Streets around City Park, though, where we are this morning, are also dry again. And the engineering manager says that's because, in his words, the new design worked.
I envision all that water that it held would have been pushed into those streets, into those neighborhoods. And so having that amount of water in the golf course means we had just that much less water downhill in those neighborhoods, which is a really good thing.
So as we showed you in that video a little bit ago, neighbors did still see quite a bit of flooding on the streets on Sunday, but that was actually, according to the engineer, part of the design as well. They say if there's just a little bit of water on the roads, then they are considering this project here with the golf course a success, Gary.
It didn't look like a little bit of water on the streets. I mean, it looked like a lot of water on that street.
Listen, I'm not an engineer. I'm just here to report what they say at this time. But yes, what they're saying is that they consider a success. I agree with you. Again, Gary, I am not an engineer. I'm just dating one. Okay. Don't ask me. I'll ask him. We'll take it up with him.
It was up to the windows of some of those cars. All right, Jordan. Thank you. All right. While you were sleeping, the Aurora City Council gave unanimous approval to an ordinance that restricts non-functional grass in the city. Now, it still needs to pass a second vote before it becomes law, but if it does, Aurora would be the first municipality in the state to restrict cool weather turf, things like Kentucky bluegrass. They say it's all an effort to save water amid dwindling supplies. Right now, Denver police are looking for a driver involved in a hit and run on Saturday night.
Police say someone driving a Subaru that looked like this one crashed into a motorcycle just after 9 o'clock on Platt Street and 15th, and then they just drove off. The motorcyclist is seriously hurt. Police believe the Subaru should have damage on its front left side. If you know anything about this, you're being asked to call Crime Stoppers. And Aurora police are still looking for the driver who hit and killed a man walking his 2 dogs early Friday morning. It happened on South Reservoir Road near Horizon Park. Family and friends tell us the man who died was Jason Lyman.
Everybody is going to miss him. We're going to miss how caring, accepting, compassionate he was.
The Toyota Sequoia was found near the crash scene, but the driver had run off. If you know anything about this one, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers as well.
Former President Trump says the FBI searched his home at Mar-a-Lago and broke open his safe. The Secret Service was given a heads up about the raid and helped the FBI agents into the Florida estate. NBC News confirmed that agents were looking for classified material that the former president took with him when he left the White House in 2021. All classified material is supposed to be sent to the National Archives. Trump turned over 15 boxes of documents in February. He wasn't present for the raid. He was at his apartment in New York City at the time.
The family of Gabby Petito filed a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit against the MOAB, Utah Police Department. The lawsuit accuses the department for failing to properly investigate Gabby's domestic violence case and protect her. 22-year-old Petito was reported missing last September while on a cross-country trip with her fiancé Brian Laundrie. While in MOAB, witnesses called police to a domestic violence incident between Brian and Gabby. Weeks later, Petito's body was found in a national forest in Wyoming. Her death was ruled a homicide.
President Biden's pick to lead the Federal Aviation Administration could leave Denver International Airport without a leader. CEO Phil Washington was nominated last month to head up the FAA. Now, news reporter John Glasgow joins us live from the newsroom. And John, for the first time this morning, we're hearing from Washington about this nomination.
Yeah, and Washington has been really quiet about this nomination, and he hasn't been with DIA all that long. He was appointed by Denver City Council less than a year ago. Now, prior to that, he led the Los Angeles County Metro Transit Authority. He also had the top job at RTD here in Denver before that. If Washington's nomination is approved by the Senate, DIA will have a big hole left to fill. The airport would be looking for its second new leader in as many years, and they will inherit the Great Hall project, the long delayed and over budget effort to revamp ticketing spaces and security checkpoints. Washington would be leaving for another big job with the FAA, an agency under scrutiny for staffing shortages and the rising number of flight delays and cancellations. We asked Phil Washington how he would restore faith in the FAA.
Well, it's hard for me to talk about the vision yet because I'm not in the job, but I, in terms of what we're doing here at Denver International Airport, we are part of the national aviation system, and so that becomes very, very important. But I'm honored by the nomination.
So some people argue Washington has little experience in the aviation industry other than his role at DIA that is. He did lead the Biden-Harris Transportation Department transition team after the 2020 election. One White House source says that he is the front runner for the position, but we will have to wait to see when the Senate votes on his nomination. Corey?
Yeah, some potential big moves there. All right, John, thank you.
You're welcome.